Hey guys, it's Hinda and welcome to Cooking Fantasies. In today's video, we're going to be making these beautiful and delicious pistachio puff pastries or craquelin, or with a crunchy topping. So basically, we're going to be preparing a choux pastry. We're going to top it with a crunchy topping or craquelin, and we're going to be filling it with a delicious and smooth pistachio cream pastry. And of course, we're going to be making everything from scratch. If you are new to the channel, we make a lot of delicious things here, so make sure to hit the subscribe button, the little bell to get all the notifications, and let's get started. And as always, I'm going to be leaving you down in the description box all the ingredients you're going to need in both the grams and the cups measurements. We will start by preparing an easy pistachio paste, and for this you need some roasted pistachios. If you only have fresh ones, go ahead, peel them and roast them for a couple minutes either on a hot pan or in a hot oven. Processor, I'm going to be adding the sugar to them and half the quantity of the oil. Use any vegetable oil you have. If you have a nut oil like walnut oil or almond oil, it's even better. It's going to enhance the flavor. And I also added 2 to 3 drops of almond extract. It adds a lot to the flavor. And then mix everything together for a couple of minutes, add in the rest of the oil and keep processing everything till you achieve this nice paste texture. Next thing we're going to be preparing is the craquelin. We're going to simply mix all the ingredients. So I have brown sugar. You can also substitute with white sugar. I'm going to add the flour. The butter should be soft in room temperature. And of course, I'm going to be adding green coloring because we are using pistachio. This is just for the visual. If you don't want to add food coloring, you can just leave it out. We don't want to over mix it or anything. The point is just to combine everything together, and then we're gonna roll it down really thin between 2 pieces of parchment paper. If your craquelin wouldn't roll, just place it in the fridge for a couple of minutes or 5 minutes till it's cold. Then it's gonna be easier to work with. And you want to roll it out as thin as possible, about 1 to 2 millimeters, not more. And once you roll it out, use a cookie cutter and cut out circles of about 3 centimeters. And let's all ignore the fact that I'm using a Play-Doh cookie cutter. And as you see, I'm not totally cutting the pieces, but just kind of drawing or stamping them. Then place your craquelin in the freezer until we need it. Next thing we're going to be making is our choux pastry. We will be preparing a classic choux pastry. For this, in a saucepan, add the milk, the water, the butter, a pinch of salt, the sugar, and place everything together on a medium to low heat until the butter melts. Once the butter has melted, remove it from the heat or leave the pan on the stove and switch off the heat. Add the flour in one go and mix everything together. And you want to keep mixing or stirring till it's very smooth and you don't see any crumbs in the dough. And you want to keep continuously stirring kind of against the sides of your pan because we're trying to dehydrate it as well as work it into a nice smooth ball of dough. This would take between 2 to 3 minutes depending. I kind of stop when I see this thin layer of dough on the bottom of my pan. This means my dough is dry enough and it's ready to use. Transfer it into a clean bowl that's cold and wait for it to cool for 3 to 5 minutes before adding the egg. You don't want to immediately add the egg while the dough is still too hot, otherwise the egg will cook and you will have very unpleasant pieces of egg in your dough. So wait for it to cool, add the egg and start work it in. First it's gonna have a weird texture, it's gonna get very sticky, but just keep working it and it will eventually come together. I use this standard small piping tip and I'm going to transfer my dough into a piping bag. I will pipe out my choux pastry into a small balls that about 3 centimeters. They shouldn't be too big because they will still expand while baking. If you don't have a baking mat that already has the patterns, you might want to draw small circles on the back of your parchment papers. This will allow you to have an even puff pastries. And now we're gonna place the circles of craquelin that we have cut out on the top of our choux pastries, and you wanna give it a really slight pressure on the top to make sure that it sticks to the dough. You don't wanna press it too much, just enough to stick. The oven is preheated to 175 degrees Celsius, that's 347 degrees Fahrenheit. They're gonna take between 20 to 25 minutes to bake, depending on your oven, depending if you're using parchment paper or silicone mat. You just wanna keep an eye on it and make sure that it's thoroughly baked and golden brown before you take them out, otherwise they will fall. And meanwhile, we're gonna prepare our delicious pastry cream. So we're going to be preparing a basic custard cream or crème pâtissière, to which we're going to be adding the pistachio paste we prepared at the beginning. So in a saucepan, we're going to add the milk with the vanilla extract and bring the vanilla cream to a simmer on a medium to low heat. Meanwhile, we're going to mix the egg yolks with the sugar and the cornstarch. I'm sorry I couldn't find the footage, but it's basically mixing the egg yolks with the sugar and the cornstarch. Then we're gonna be gradually adding in the milk after it has simmered. And you want to do this slowly on a 3 goes because we don't want eggs to cook immediately, so make sure to keep stirring while adding in the milk. So pour the whole mixture again in the saucepan and bring it to a medium to low heat. Make sure to keep stirring continuously, that the heat is not too high, and you want to keep stirring for another 1 to 2 minutes after the thickening point to make sure that the cream is thick enough, the eggs are thoroughly cooked, and it's going to have a nice creamy and thick texture. Once you remove it from the heat, transfer it into a clean bowl that doesn't have any traces of raw eggs. Add in the butter and work it into the cream. Make sure to stir till the butter has totally melted. Then cover it with a piece of plastic wrap on the touch. Make sure the plastic is touching the cream and allow it to cool. Once my cream has cooled and is ready, I'm going to be adding about 2 to 3 big tablespoons of the pistachio paste we prepared at the beginning. You might want to be adding the pistachio and trying it till you are happy with the flavor. Then use an electric mixer to combine everything together. This step is very important to have a very creamy texture. The delicious pistachio cream is ready. I'm going to be filling a piping bag with it and ready to fill our puff pastries. You might want to prepare the cream in advance, either the night before or before the puff pastries. It's totally up to you. My choux pastry or puff pastries are ready. You can see they have a nice golden color. It is very important to give them enough time to bake thoroughly. Then using a point of a knife or whatever tool you prefer, make small holes on the back of your pastry and fill them with the cream. Make sure to fill and add enough cream to fill the whole space. Once you have filled all the choux with the cream, allow them to set for about an hour for the cream to set and enjoy. And as easy as that, you make the most delicious pistachio cream puff pastries or choux craquelin à la pistache. They are really delicious and worth trying. I hope you will be trying out this recipe soon. If you do, please let me know how it turned out. I'm always happy to read from you. If you still have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me down in the comment section. Don't forget to check the description box for all the ingredients and all the tips you need to know to make the most delicious pistachio puff pastries. I thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to get all the notifications, and see you soon in a new video. Happy baking!